Hi, I'm Mark, and it's time for another lunch counter conversation. And today, my guest is Paul Rush. Paul's our athletic director, and Paul, it's good to have you here with us.
Yeah.
We're just gonna kind of let students do their thing in the background, and we'll do our thing here. So, as you know, NNU is an intentionally Christian university. We're also a liberal arts university. What do you think the significance is of us being a Christian liberal arts university?
Well, I think it's such a powerful thing to be there in that transition phase. You know, our culture doesn't have a lot of rites of passage for people, and college really is one of the very few rites of passage that our culture has. And so as young people are in that phase of figuring out who they are, apart from mom and dad, away from home, being able to give them a biblical, Christ-centered foundation as they step out into that is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of time spent wondering who they are and what they believe. And when that can be founded in something that's lasting, something that's true, I think that really helps them navigate that phase of their life. And then I think the liberal arts side of it, taking what oftentimes is a very narrow perspective and broadening their perspective.
Yeah.
I think the moments of going, oh, I've never thought about that, or never really thought there was a different way or different culture or different experience that people are having around the world is powerful. And so I think combining those two things, the truth of the Bible and having their life being poured into, through God's love as they're making those decisions and trying to decide who they are, and having their experience be more than what, the very very singular, cultural, singular, experience is powerful. So I think having those two pieces in place as they get ready to step into the world is a great balance.
Yeah. So, as you know, our students come from a variety of faith backgrounds, all the way from very little faith, maybe even a little understanding of Jesus, God, Christianity, and then those who have gone to church most of their lives. So how does NNU intersect in that? How does NNU contribute to a student's faith journey, and in some cases maybe even helping them begin that faith journey?
I think in my career as a basketball coach here, I got to see that. I mean, I got to see guys come in with a Muslim background, a non-church, never been to church, not planning on going to church background, and pastors' kids, that have spent more time in church than most people, right? So I got to witness them on this campus. And the thing that we would always talk about is this campus would meet them where they're at, and did such a good job of just putting its arms around them where they're at. Not coming in and saying, think this, do this, be this, but just meeting them where they're at and loving them where they're at. Spider came in as he was a basketball player. He came in as a Muslim, and it was amazing to see our campus just love him. We had another guy come in from overseas who was Orthodox, very Orthodox Russian.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, Orthodox Russian Church.
Russian Orthodox, yeah.
Yep, and NNU met him where he was at. Oh, shoot. Excuse me. Sorry.
There's something in the air.
Yeah. And then our pastors' kids would come in and they were loved too. So it was awesome to see how the staff and the faculty and the students here, the community here, just loved people, met them where they were, wrapped their arms around them, And they got to, from my perspective, sorry, shouldn't have done that. From my perspective, the ability to experience God's love and God's grace for you outside of a sermon or outside of somebody, sitting down and talking you through it, but to just know it is so valuable. And so I think whether it's a kid that grows up in a church and kind of has this very strict view of what being a Christian is, or a kid that has no experience of what being a Christian is, they get to live that out and be loved and experience grace and know what that is intuitively, and then be able to make the connection to God's heart and God's story for them.
Yeah.
So that's been one of the amazing things to see, is the way students that come here from all different backgrounds are loved and experience God's love for them.
Yeah. So when a student goes to college, they frequently have an end in mind. I mean, they want to graduate, they want to go out into the world and be a success at whatever. We obviously play a part in that. From your perspective as athletic director, as men's basketball coach prior to that, how do we contribute to that process of getting students ready for what's next?
Well, I'm watching some of our students in that process, academically, intellectually. We challenge them. I see that typically kind of more from the student perspective, as I'm talking through what finals do you have, or what assignments are you needing to make up as we're on the road, and so seeing that perspective, you see how rigorous and how much they are challenged academically and intellectually. So I think we do a lot to prepare them there. Beyond that, there's I'll go back to kind of what I was saying at the beginning. There's this formative stage that they're going through, that they're experiencing, and really starting to shape their worldview, really starting to shape who they are and how they see themselves interacting with the world as a professional. And I think we help form that and help shape that. So much of that I think is done through their peer relationships and their relationships with faculty and staff.
Yeah.
As they start asking questions and forming ideas and philosophies, they're seeking input throughout that process. And so I think, this place does an amazing job of helping form that process for them.
Yeah. So a lot of our students say that we do college different here at NNU. So in your experience, as you've worked here for several years now, how does that look for you? How do you think we do college different?
Yeah, I've said a couple times that this transition phase for students, this rite of passage for young people in college, is one of the few we have in our culture. I also think a lot of that college experience at different campuses has become stunted, because the students, want to go have fun and want to experience something new, but don't really want to prepare for that next phase of their life.
Yeah.
And when I think about how we do college here, one of the ways I see we do it differently is we're truly helping kids transform. When you think about our university versus other universities, one of our sole purposes is to help them transform in all facets of their life,
right,
and prepare them for that next stage. And I think there's a lot of college experiences that are not doing that. The experience students end up having is a lot of freedom and not a lot of growth. And here they get the freedom, but they also really are centered in their growth and their transformational experience.
Yeah.
And that's doing it differently in our culture and in our society today.
Yeah, good. That's wonderful. And it's good to have your boys around. So, yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by.
For sure.
Good to chat with you.
Yeah.